Okay everyone, welcome to what is possibly the last ever video on Gran Turismo Sport, and I think this is a very fitting way to end the GT Sport video content. So this was a few weeks back ago. We had possibly the greatest daily race combination that has been on GT Sport in quite some time, and we had some pretty insane races. Now we've got two races to show you now. Unfortunately, one of the races that I believed I thought I'd recorded wasn't on my PS5, so unfortunately that's not there, but I think you're going to agree that these two races were just simply insane. So if you haven't already subscribed, get subscribed to the channel now, hit that like button if you want more content like this on Gran Turismo 7, which is what the aim will be. Then yeah, subscribe to the channel. So let's get underway. We're starting from P3. You can see here we've got two cars straight in front of us there, Quentin and the Corvette already battling. Now these lobbies were very high rated. If they were FIA races, the two races I'm going to show you, they'd probably be over 400 points. That was the level of the drivers that were joining these races during this week. So really fun week, can't fault it. Great track, one of my favourite fictional tracks on GT Sport. It is Sardegna A. Even in reverse layout, this track is truly great. We had a brilliant week in Group 2 in the reverse layout. It's just something special about this track because you can overtake, it's got ability to follow in slipstream. It just really works, especially in Group 3. So yeah, going into the braking zone, you can see the two cars left. We're going to try and hang it around the outside here. This is extremely risky. Can we make that move around the outside? Unfortunately, we can't. And we're going to tuck back into P3. Now, we've got Calster behind us in the Nissan GTR. And this was another thing this week. There was about 3 or 4 cars that you could actually use that could really compete in this combination. So it made it really, really fun. So through this tricky left-hand corner, trying to make sure that we don't get into that wall. Very easy to do. And we can see already that the Nissan GTR is definitely a little bit stronger through them really fast corners. So having to be cautious through there. But on the exit there, you can see Calster behind us with that nice pink livery on. Just getting a little bit loose on the rear. That is where it's a little bit harder to control with the Nissan GTR in the acceleration zone. So fast forwarding into this next turn one, and you can see the top two are battling again, side-by-side action. And this was really very common with this daily race. A lot of side-by-side action occurred, and it was just so entertaining to be involved with and just racing with these really good drivers. And yeah, it was just so entertaining. There was always going to be a little bit of contact in these races because the racing was so close, but in general, the whole week was just absolutely brilliant racing. Some of the best racing we've ever seen on the game. So again, Quentin in the McLaren trying to find the way past that Corvette. Now, one thing about the McLaren is it's not quite so fast. The 650 he is in, he's not in the GTR. So he's in the 650 there, and that's going to be a bit slower on the straight. So it's trying to find a way to get a better exit, and at the moment it's not really going to get ahead of that Corvette. So we're going to give him a little bump draft here, and he gets the run on the outside. Now, is he going to be able to send it all the way around the outside? Let's see. Can he manage to go around the outside? He breaks extremely late. However, can he hold it? Which he does actually manage to hold it. However, the Corvette traction is so good that not much he could do there. Again, we're trying to get them to battle, because if they start battling, that means we might have an opportunity to maybe make up a position or get into the lead of this race. And as you can see there, the Corvette actually ghosted in front of me and then unghosted right in front of me. So yeah, a little bit of an issue with the ghosting system there. Unfortunately for that driver, he hit the wall, and yeah, he's only lost a few positions though. You can see he's still in this slipstream train, so he's not out of the battle. But yeah, he got a little bit lucky actually, because when we hit him, it rebounded him back off the barrier and straight back into the racing line. So yeah, we're now going to get the slipstream from Quentin, and we're going to bump draft him down the straight, because at this stage, it might be better to work with him. But you can see Calster behind, and that Nissan GTR has got other ideas. He's going to go for a move. So that means I'm going to have to go for a move on Quentin, because I see that Calster's looking to go for a move, and we put ourselves into P1. However, we run a little bit wide onto the gravel, but just about, luckily, keep it on the track. So yeah, fortunately, we're still in P1. Now, Quentin's going to work with us a little bit through this section, because there's no point really battling too much in this part of the lap. We know a few drivers have just pitted early, so we've got to be quite careful that they don't get a massive undercut. So you can see we get quite a good exit there, and now we just got to concentrate on this left-hand corner. Now this corner is probably more favourable to the McLaren. McLaren actually is pretty decent in these type of corners in the 650. But you can see there, he's got the slipstream. He's going to work up behind us, and he's probably going to go for a move. Let's see what happens as that McLaren in a slipstream is actually not too bad, because it's got very long gears, so it's actually quite fast when you're in a slipstream. So yeah, into the braking zone, you can see he's going to go to actually bump draft us there. Now I was actually quite surprised when he did that. I thought he was actually going to go for an overtake, but he actually bump drafts us there. So again, working together, fast forwarding up through this section. However, through here you can see the exit speed. I run a little bit wide and get all out of shape, so instead of battling and defending, I decided to stay to the right hand side, because I know I've got dirty tyres. And if I try and battle him, we both lose time. So just tuck into his slipstream and try and limit the time that I lose by obviously getting that rubbish on my tyres and losing time. So he's going to go in the pits this lap. I decided to stay out. Now, what I was praying here was that Calster was going to bump draft us and not actually go for the overtake, or just hold off from going for an overtake. And yeah, Calster's a sensible driver, good racecraft, and he's not going to battle this, because the important thing about this lap is we're going longer, so we don't want to battle. So we both work together on that lap, no battling, and we're both into the pits. And now we're going to come out, probably losing a few positions. However, we've now got fresher tyres. Now, I don't know how Calster did this, but that Nissan GTR gained half a second on me just on the pit stop. But yeah, luckily we came out ahead, and we're side by side with the McLaren. But unfortunately, you can see there that we end up behind him. But the good thing is, Quentin pitted in front of us and went on to soft tyres, and we didn't lose any time. So we're back behind Quentin now with 1 lap fresher tyres, and I think the car in the lead actually has 2 lap older tyres than us. So in this position, me and Calster probably in the strongest position in these group of cars. So it's going to be a really interesting end to this race. So let's see, as we come through this left-hand corner, this is where we're going to have a little bit more power than that McLaren in front of us. So fast forwarding up the hill, and as we come to this, now I was tempted to give him a bump draft, but with us having fresher tyres, I thought let's get overtaked on and see if we can tuck into the slipstream of the top 2, which we have just about managed to do. You can see that gap is around 6 tenths, so we are in the drag zone. So this should be pretty good for us. We're in the slipstream. Can we fight our way into the top 2? Now, we know that these two in the top 2 positions are actually on 2 lap older tyres, so we should have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to grip on the exits of corners and also through the corners. You can see straight away in the braking zone, we've got a lot more braking ability than these top 2. And on the traction, we're managing to stay very close off the exit there. And now we're going to get that slipstream all the way down the straight. So this again, let's see what happens as we go down the main straight. They're going to go side by side. Now, we pick up the slipstream. Now, I went to go down left hand side, and I gave P1 a little bit of a bump draft. And we actually hit him again there on the just before the corner apex, and actually helped him out, kept him into P1. So yeah, I was aiming to give him the bump draft and tuck in behind him, but unfortunately we just keep everything in the static position that it was going into the corner. But you can see P2 is going to try and hang it around the outside. Now I do love that corner. You can see Calster tries to do something very similar. It's actually possible to hang around the outside there. But look in our mirror there, you can see Calster and Quentin going side by side behind us, and this is why this week was so entertaining. Constant side by side action, great racing, and just entertainment everywhere. And another thing you can see with this race, just look at the field spread, because obviously this was a very high rated lobby. You don't see this very often in daily races. Everyone is really tightly packed. There's no real gaps in the field. Absolute brilliant driving. If you make one mistake, you're going to suffer big time. But as we come into this very tricky corner, this was probably my hardest corner on track, but once we got used to it at the end of the week, we actually started to figure it out slightly. Get a really good exit off that corner this time. P1 actually gets a little bit of a dodgy exit. P2 is going to try and hang it around the outside. Now, going around the outside there is very difficult, because it's very easy to get pushed off onto the grass, and then you risk hitting the barrier, which will just instantly spin your car. Now, fast forwarding out of the final corner there and down the main straight, we're going to try and bump draft the other car this time and see if we can go around the outside. But Calster has gone on the inside, and I think he might have gave the other car a bump draft, and we've got a situation where we've got 2 wide. They both sort themselves out, but we've got the inside to F by Ella now. And can we manage to hold on to this P2 position? We got the slipstream to P1, and now we're up into P2. And you can see that Calster's going to try and go up the inside there. We're almost 3 wide for a second then. And we've got a car on our right. We're going to try and hang it around the outside of this corner. A little bit of contact, but like I say, that was to be expected in this kind of situation when you've got 4 or 5 cars, 6 cars almost. Look in the mirror. It's crazy stuff going on here. We've got 3 wide behind us, 2 wide with myself and the car on the right, with the other Corvette. And it's this just insane. I have to say, do give this video a thumbs up, because this racing was just incredible. If you're enjoying this racing, give this video a thumbs up, because I have no words for how good this week was. Into the braking zone again on the 100 board. You can see P2 is going to try and go around the outside. That's not going to work. And then we manage to tuck in behind the other 2 cars. And you've now got another 2 wide behind us, and I think a 2 wide behind that as well. And luckily, we're just in single file behind P1, and we do have them fresher tyres. So we need to try and get past him, because you can see the difference in the cornering grip. We've got so much more grip. We're going to go and fake to the left and then try and brake late on the outside, or try and get a good exit of this corner. You can see Calster, though, sneakily getting off the inside there. That's going to stop myself from getting that exit that I was trying to get. And now we're into the slipstream, but we're not going to go to the right. We're just going to keep our car in a straight line because we want to have a bit of a gap, really, to get the momentum on this straight. You see, Calster is actually going to bump draft us here because there's no point in going for an overtake while we're getting the draft from P1. So get that slipstream. Can we go for a move? Now, one thing I did here was I pulled away from the slipstream way too quick. Should have stayed in the slipstream longer. Calster goes up the inside there. We're going to try and hang it around the outside here. Again, tiny bit of contact on the outside, but no real harm done there. We managed to keep it on the outside. And we're side by side. Calster's now got the inside line though, and we've got another two-wide situation. We've got the Aston Martin as well, driven by Mumu there in P4, and they're going side by side. This is just craziness, I swear. Like, you can see a little bit of contact again with P1, but we managed to give him the space on the exit. And again, we've got another side by side situation now with myself and P1. We're going to try and hang it around the outside this corner, but we can see we're a little bit too far behind and just tuck back behind him. But now we've got to be defensive from, I think, another driver that's on the same distant tyres as ourselves and Calster. But we're going down the right side. He's probably going to go and give the bump draft to the inside because then he can try and go down the inside. And we're actually going to be hung dry a little bit here. You can see we're on the outside. Not much we can really do. We're going to try and brake as late as possible. A little bit of contact again, but like I say, it was I think people kind of accepted little bits of contact in this week's in the racing that was going on for this combination because it was so close and tight, and it was very hard to drive this close at the speeds that people were driving at, but it was just so brilliant. You see there, Mumu going a little bit wide out of that corner, getting the dirty tyres, and we're back up to P2, and we're about to start last two laps. You can see there, Quentin sending it in the McLaren behind us also there. He obviously knew that the Vantage would have them dirty tyres, so again, we're not going to weave on that bit because we want a little bit of a gap to pick up that slipstream. So onto the main straight. Can we go for a move this time? Let's try it again. Get in that slipstream. Where are we going to go from? We're going to go to right. Now, we did originally go to, we tried to pull away from that slipstream quite early because I was thinking about going for a fake, but he didn't fall for it. And we're going to try and hang the car around the outside now. We actually brake a little bit too late this time, unfortunately. And a little bit of contact there just stops us being able to get on that throttle as early as we would like. But yeah, so very, very close to making that move work, but I just braked a little bit too late, and now Quentin's given us that bump draft. But can we hang it around the outside? We've got definite better tyres. We decided to brake early, try and go for a bit of an undercut here and get better exit speed. You can see we get that better exit speed, and now we're on the right-hand side, and we've definitely got the run on the outside. Can we hang it around the outside with these better tyres? And you can see side by side all the way through this long left-hand corner, and we both give each other enough space, and now we've got the inside line to this corner, but that's going to give him the preferred line for the next heavy braking zone. You can see we actually made this move work. However, the situation wasn't great, very good for us because everyone went on the inside and bump drafted everyone on the inside, and from P1 all the way down to P3, 4, and then 5 on the exit. So absolutely incredible racing though. We're down to P5, but we should be able to maybe get ourselves back up to P4, but we're then going to have the outside line for this very tricky corner, so we're probably going to end up backing out of this, which we do. We back out, let Calster go up the inside, and now we're in P5. So from P1 to P5 in the space of about 2 seconds. That's how crazy these races was. So through the final corner, this main braking zone, before we get to the final corner up here, and can we get the slipstream and maybe get ourselves back into the top 4 or top 3? This is just incredible racing. We've also got another car right behind us there, Corvette. So 6 drivers, all extremely close. We can see a couple of other drivers have dropped a little bit further back behind that, I think, where they've obviously had the worn tyres and starting to struggle. But P3 is doing a good job with them worn tyres because he also, I think, had quite worn tyres. We can see behind there, F by Ella goes for the move with them really old tyres, and he looks like he's battling with the car behind. That's good for us because it's going to give us a bit of space. And now we've got more battling going on in front of us there with Calster and the yellow Corvette. They're going to go for a move. You can see Quentin on the outside in the 650 getting onto the gravel. You could see the dust kicking up, and now we're just trying to get a good strong exit off this corner. We're going to give Calster a bump draft now on the inside to try and make them go side by side, and then we're going to go back to the right hand side and try and tuck up underneath one of the slipstreams of the cars. We'd rather go on the left hand side because we saw we got absolutely mugged before, so we're staying to the left this time, and we're going to see if we can get that slipstream. You see the Corvette behind us gives us a little nudge here, and we get the little bit of boost that we need there. We've got the left hand side, although we get squeezed into the wall ever so slightly. I don't think that was deliberate, it was just a mistake. And now we're going to try and hold the inside line into this corner. We managed to make that move, and we're just about ahead here. Now, we did think we were fully ahead at that point. We accidentally squeezed him into the barrier, a bit like what just done before. But luckily, we managed to keep that position and stayed around 3 tenths behind us, so not too much harm done there. But yeah, a little mistake in these races, it was always going to happen with how close it was. and we're back up to P4 now. Can we manage to get a P3 before the finishing line? It's going to be very, very hard. We're going to try and get on the power as early as possible. Can we get the run? However, Calster in that Nissan, extremely fast accelerating car, that Nissan GTR. However, he has got the 650 in front of him with no slipstream, so he might be able to go for a move. Let's see what happens all the way to the finishing line, and it looks like it's just going to be a P4 for this race. But what absolute brilliant racing. I think we had so many races like this during the week. It was hard to pick out the races that were worthy of an upload, but that one definitely was worth uploading. Absolutely entertaining racing all the way through it. So again, we decided to go again, and this is the last one we're going to show you of the day, because there was one more. I'm really frustrated that I can't find it on my PS5. There was another race that was really, really entertaining, but I can't find it anywhere. I don't know what's happened to it. But yeah, this one we're starting from P3. We've got Antonio behind us, Calster in P5, Wind in P2, and we got the ERT driver in P1. So very fast drivers again in this lobby. Again, if this was an FIA race, you'd be pushing 400 points. Extremely high rated lobby for DR. And let's see what we can do in the Corvette. We've got Wind in the Corvette. I think P1 is in the Aston Martin. And we've got, I think, Antonio in the Lexus. And I think Calcer might be in the Vantage in this one. So let's see how this race pans out. So straight away from the start, we're just getting the slipstream to Wind. We're just going to see if we can take advantage of any opportunities that arise. While we've got that Lexus behind us. Now, the good thing about the Lexus being behind you is, although in a slipstream it can hang with you, it's going to have trouble actually getting past the Corvette. So it makes it a little bit easier to defend, really, because although really fast through the corners, it's not so fast on the straights. However, we know how good Antonio is and how fast he is. He'll probably easily find the way past us. We see Wind go for a move on P1. He gets himself up into P1, but they're going to try and fight it out. Now, we get quite a good run from this corner, and we're going to go side by side with that Vantage. However, he has got the slipstream, and he's going to have the inside line to that part of the corner, which then gives him the run. I decide to back out, and then we're into this left-hand corner. Now, we don't quite hook this corner up. You can see that Antonio behind us in the Lexus gets quite a good run off the corner. We're going to go a little bit defensive there, and we manage to hold on to the position. So still in P3, and the Vantage in P2, and then Wind in the other Corvette in P1 there. So through the final corner, working our way down the straight, fast forwarding into the braking zone. You can see the Vantage is going to get himself back up into P1. So switching positions there, and now we're just sitting behind, waiting to see if we can go for a move. Now we skip ahead to the end of lap 2, pretty much static in terms of positions up to this point. And then as we come through, you can see Antonio gets a much better exit off that corner. That Lexus was extremely good through the really fast corners. He's able to get the inside line. We're on the outside. We get a little bit on the grass, and unfortunately, we lose that position, so down to P4. But Calcer gives us a little bit of a bump draft there and gets us back into that slipstream. And now you can see the difference between my car and the Corvette. Now, I think Antonio knew that we would have overtook him, so he goes off into the pits and pits lap 2. Again, very early pit stop. It's going to make it interesting at the end of the race, and we decided to stay out and try and have better tyres at the end. Now, Calcer's given us that bump draft there, which gets us into the slipstream of P1. That's a big help, because now we just got to sit in the slipstream to P1 and follow around to the pit stop and decide whether we're going to go in the pits or not. So, yeah, fast forward in the action as we're just gaining time. You can see the delta coming down from 6-7 tenths to half a second, and then we're going to gain all the way up on this uphill section, and the gap is now around 2-3 tenths, and then into this really tricky section. So we're really close to P1. However, this corner, as you know, very difficult. We're always going to have to back out a little bit when following someone so close through there. And then into the final corner, just braking just before that 100 board and just trying to concentrate on getting a good exit. Now again, decisions. Do we stay out? We know we've gained a little bit on this lap because of the slipstream. We managed to gain 3-4 attempts there. So I decided to stay out and go for a bit of a risky strategy. We know they're going to have a big undercut, the drivers that pitted on lap 2 and lap 3, but we're going to stay out, and hopefully Calster will work with us again, which I was pretty confident he would, because he knows that we need to get a good solid lap. So which he did do. He followed behind us, helped us out when we needed it, and then we're both into the pits, putting the soft tyres on, and let's see what happens. Where do we come out in this race? So we're out the pits. We can see we've lost quite a bit of time to the drivers that pitted lap 2. And we're just about managing to stay in the slipstream to that Vantage that pitted just before us. So that has worked out quite nice, because we're in a pretty similar situation, but with 1 lap fresher tyres. So we're going to skip ahead to the end of that lap, and you can see we're going to start working with P3. Although he's got older tyres, his tyres are still pretty good. So on this lap, we're going to work with him and try and get him into the slipstream of the top 3. And this is where a bit of racecraft comes in, just trying to push him into that group and see if we can then all battle for the win of this race. So yeah, following behind him, you see Calster also not really battling at this stage, because we've just got to try and look after our tyres, because if we save the tyres a little bit for a couple of laps, on the last 2 laps we should have quite a big advantage over the other cars that are in this battle for the win. So yeah, pushing P3, helping him when he needs it, and just trying to give him that boost whenever we can on the uphill section, particularly out of this left hand corner. So fast forwarding through here, and you can see as we get the slipstream, we're going to give him a little nudge up the hill. You can see the flashlights going on there because he probably knows what I'm going to do, giving him the boost up there, and that'll give him a little bit more power and a bit more speed, into the braking zone. And then yeah, he should be very, very close to picking up the slip from P2. You can see he's almost in it. He's probably about 3-4 attempts away from picking up the slip, but eventually we all got into that slipstream. So on that lap 8 here, you can see we're all in the slip now to the top 2, which are on 2 lap older tyres than myself. We know that P3 is obviously on 1 lap older tyres than myself, but me and Calster are looking quite good for this race. We're all going to be battling it out to the end. It's going to be very, very interesting as all these different strategies come together with positions. You can see this race was a little bit more spread out. You can see that this group here of 5 drivers were really, really close, and then behind that there was a bit of a gap to the other drivers, but sometimes that happens. But in this one, yeah, you can see a bit of a gap compared to the last race. But you can see Antonio going for a move there, or going defensive I should say, to the Vantage, because that Vantage is so quick on acceleration. It got extremely close to him on the braking zone, and now into this tricky left hand corner. Can we all get through here without any mistakes? So trying to keep it nice and smooth. We're going to get as close to the barrier as possible. You can see that it looks like someone nearly ran wide there, but just about kept it on the track, and now into the heavy braking zone. So we're in a pretty good situation here because we're pretty much in P1 slipstream. You can see Antonio getting a little bit loose down the rear of the Lexus, obviously with his tyres that are quite old at this stage of the race. And this is going to be interesting. Can we manage to go for a move in the braking zone? So picking up the slipstream all the way down the straight. Let's see what happens as we work our way into the braking zone of turn 1. So the Vantage is obviously going to go for a move. It looks like the Lexus is going to want to go for a move. The Lexus goes to the left. We're going to brake early and just see what we can do when we come to the exit of the corner. You can see that they're going side by side at the front, and we're just going to try and pick a position. So we get the slipstream to the Vantage. We're going to go around the right hand side and see if we can maybe hang it around the outside. Now we know this move can work. However, as I go to the right there, I just skimmed onto the dirt and managed just about to keep the car on the track without getting dirty tyres. You can see that we're just still in the slipstream, but we're going to probably lose that slip to P4. But we do know that obviously they're going to be battling, so we should be able to get back involved with this battle. So you can see there, around 6 attempts, we're just hanging on to the slipstream out the corner. They're all going to be in the slipstream here, so we're going to probably lose it at this stage. However, like I say, once we get to the braking zone, we should be okay. So fast forward into the braking zone. You can see we brake as late as possible, try and get a good exit of the corner. They're all battling in front of us, and that's the slipstream straight away back. So we're back in with this race. So extremely exciting end here. Little mistake that we made there has cost me a few positions, but we're now back in with a chance of a win. Anyone can win this race. You can see that Wynn's going to go a bit wide there. He's going to get dirty tyres, so we're going to go down the left hand side and see if we can maybe go for a bit of a move on the inside, but he hangs it around the outside and manages to hold on to that position, and he actually gets really good traction out of the corner. So we're going to have to let him take that P4, but let's see what happens as we go to the exit. Calster's gone to the right hand side of the track to try and get past P2. Has he managed to make that work? Now this has worked for us now though, because we've now got a really nice run. Now I see a gap open up in front of us, and I think we can go through that. However, they both just turned in a little bit, probably not meaningfully, but yeah, it just stopped us going through that gap. But can we go around the outside here? You can see Calster on the right hand side, brakes a little bit late and just about manages to keep it on the track like we did before. We might have squeezed him a little bit, but we had nowhere to go, to be honest, because we had cars on our left. So yeah, incredible racing again into P3. We've got 2 cars again right in front of us. Can we figure a way to get past these on the final lap? You can see Antonio goes a little bit deep. He's clearly struggling with the tyres that have been on since lap 2, so his tyres are fading. And the Vantage obviously on 1 lap all the tyres. Now Calster's got the inside line to us here. He's going to actually be able to hold the inside. Can he go for the move there? We're going to have to give him space, but this should give us slightly better exit speed, which it does. And we're back into the slipstream and holding on to P3 in this daily race C. So again, working up the uphill section into that heavy braking zone. You can see P2. Is he going to go for a move into the braking zone for this tight left-hand corner? He's going to go for that move. We're going to go for a little bit of a fake lunge up the inside, but brake quite early and see if we can get a good exit of the corner. You can see that Antonio is really, really struggling with them tyres. P2 has got the run in that Vantage. He should be able to hold that line and get himself up into P1 with the extra grip that he's going to have from his tyres. You can see that Antonio is trying to hold it on the outside, but he's not just not able to hold it there. But with them battling, that's meant Calster has now got the inside line to us, and we're going to lose that position there. He's up into P3. He's actually nearly up into P2. and we're down to P4. Now we've got a car on our left-hand side also battling. There's 6 cars involved with this battle, and now we're going to see if we can get a run off the final corner. You can see Carlson doesn't quite get a good exit speed there. We're going to get ourselves back up into P3 and pick up the slipstream to Antonio and P1 and manage to hold on for that podium position. So another absolutely brilliant race. Just look at that. 0.6 of a second between the top 6 drivers in a daily race. This just seems like the perfect way to end our content on GT Sport. I hope you lot really enjoyed that video. I know I did, and I hopefully will see you for more videos on Gran Turismo 7. So yeah, hopefully we'll be live with GT7 very soon. Thanks again for watching, everyone. I'll see you all soon.